There comes a point where it's not just physical exhaustion, it's emotional. You're not just tired, you're numb. You're not just overwhelmed, you're disconnected. You wake up already weary. Simple things feel hard. You smile, but it doesn't reach your eyes. You try to care, but your heart feels flat. That's emotional burnout, and it's more common and more real than most people realize. Emotional burnout isn't weakness. It's not a sign of failure. It's the natural result of giving too much for too long without being refilled. It happens when you carry burdens no one sees, when you hold space for everyone else but don't know where to place your own pain. It happens to caregivers, to leaders, to parents, to those who love deeply and serve quietly. But here's the truth. God sees your emptiness. He sees the quiet collapse inside your soul. And he doesn't scold you. He gently invites you back to rest. Not just physical rest, but soul rest. The kind that doesn't come from vacation or a nap, but from being held, from letting go, from remembering that you are more than what you do. You are more than how strong you appear. In Matthew 11, Jesus says, "Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." He wasn't just talking about tired muscles. He was speaking to tired hearts, to burnout souls, to the ones who are running on empty but still pressing forward. So if you feel emotionally drained, you're not alone, and you're not beyond help. This is not the end of you. This is the place where healing begins. And God is not waiting for you to recover before he loves you. He is loving you back to life right here, right now. There's a kind of heaviness that doesn't show up in your schedule, but it shows up in your soul. The meetings still get done. The kids still get fed. The smile still appears when needed. But beneath it all, you're holding weight, emotional weight, that no one else can see. And over time, it wears you down, not with a crash, but with a slow, silent drain. Maybe it's the pressure to be everything for everyone, or the unspoken grief you've never had time to process. Maybe it's the constant giving without receiving, or the internal war between what people expect from you and what your heart actually needs. Whatever it is, it's real, and God cares deeply about the weight you're carrying. He doesn't just see your responsibilities, he sees your fatigue. He doesn't just count your service, he notices your soul. Psalm 55 verse 22 says, "Cast your burden on the Lord and he will sustain you." That means the burden isn't yours to carry alone. That means emotional weight counts too. God isn't asking you to pretend you're okay. He's not waiting for you to tough it out. He's inviting you to hand over what's too heavy, to stop performing and start receiving, to stop fixing and start healing. Because you were never meant to carry what only grace can hold. So pause today, even just for a breath, a whispered prayer, a tear you finally let fall. That small surrender is where healing begins. And in that moment, you'll find that God isn't far away from your burnout. He's sitting with you in it, gently lifting the load you've tried so hard to carry alone. One of the most exhausting parts of emotional burnout isn't just the fatigue. It's the pressure to hide it, to smile when you're breaking, to say, "I'm fine," when everything in you is aching for rest, to keep showing up for others, even when your own soul feels like it's slipping through the cracks. But here's the gentle truth you need to hear today. You don't have to keep pretending you're fine. God isn't impressed by your ability to hold it all together. He's moved by your willingness to be honest. He doesn't require your performance. He desires your presence, even your broken presence, even your undone, messy, tear-stained version of self. In Psalm 34, verse 18, it says, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." That means your brokenness isn't something to hide. It's where God leans in the closest. You're not disqualified because you're tired. You're not less spiritual because you're struggling. You're human, and he is compassionate. You don't have to wait until you feel strong to come to him. Come as you are, burned out, worn thin, and unsure how to keep going. That honesty is holy. That vulnerability is worship. And that moment of surrender, It may be the doorway to the deepest healing you've ever known. So take off the mask today, even just for a few minutes. You are not the image you maintain. You are the beloved child God longs to restore. Let him meet you, not where you should be, but where you really are, because that's where true healing begins. The world celebrates hustle. It applauds nonstop productivity. It rewards those who push through, keep going, and never stop. But your soul wasn't made for endless motion. You were not created to run on empty. You were designed for rhythm of work and rest, of giving and receiving, of pouring out and being poured into. Emotional burnout happens when we ignore that rhythm, when we treat ourselves like machines instead of souls. And slowly, quietly, we begin to dry out. Joy feels distant. Compassion fades. Everything starts to feel like a task instead of calling. And we wonder, what's wrong with me? But maybe the better question is, what needs restoring in me? In Mark 6, verse 31, Jesus said to his disciples, "Come away with me and rest." Even in the middle of ministry of miracles, he made space for renewal. If Jesus, the Son of God, saw rest as necessary, how much more do we? He wasn't lazy. He was wise. And he invites you into that same wisdom. You don't have to earn rest. You don't have to justify your need to slow down. Rest is not weakness. It's obedience. It's trust. It's acknowledging that you are not God, and that's okay. You don't have to carry everything. You're not meant to. So if you've been running on empty, pause. Breathe. Say no to one more thing. Step away, not in defeat, but in faith. Because you can't pour from an empty cup. And God wants to refill you, not just so you can give again, but so you can live again. One of the hidden lies behind burnout is this: it's all on me. That if you stop, everything will fall apart. That if you don't show up, someone will be let down. That your worth is tied to your output. So you keep going, even when your soul is begging you to pause. But here's the truth. God is not asking you to do it all. Yes, he's called you to love, to serve, to care, but not at the cost of your wholeness, not at the expense of your heart. God never designed you to carry every burden, fix every problem, or be everything for everyone. That's his job, not yours. In Exodus 18, Moses was trying to handle everything alone, leading, judging, solving, and he was burning out. It wasn't until wise counsel stepped in and said, "You will surely wear yourself out. The work is too heavy for you. You cannot handle alone," that he made a change. Even Moses had limits, and so do you. Your limitations are not flaws. They are invitations. Invitations to ask for help, to release control, to trust that God is working even when you're resting. The kingdom of God does not collapse when you take a break. In fact, it honors a God who is truly in charge. So today, take the pressure off. You were never meant to carry the whole weight. God is not applauding your exhaustion. He's calling you back to himself, to rest, to breathe, to let go of what he never asked you to hold. Burnout begins when we try to be everything. Healing begins when we let God be enough. For so many of us, rest feels like a reward we haven't earned yet. We tie our worth to our productivity. We measure our days by what we accomplished. And when we finally pause, there's this quiet voice inside that whispers, "You should be doing more." But here's the truth. You're allowed to rest without guilt. Not because everything is finished. Not because everyone else is satisfied. But because you are human, and humans need rest. Rest is not a weakness to overcome. It's a gift to receive. God himself modeled this for us. After 6 days of creation, he rested, not because he was tired, but because he was setting a rhythm for us to live by. If the creator of the universe made space to stop, why do we feel shame when we need to? Burnout thrives where guilt and hustle go unchecked. But healing begins where grace and permission meet. You are not a machine. You are not a project. You are a soul. And your soul was never meant to live without stillness, without pauses, without breathing room. So when your body says stop, listen. When your heart feels numb, pause. When your spirit starts to crack under pressure, make space. And when guilt tries to creep in, remind yourself, I don't need to earn rest. I'm invited into it. God is not disappointed when you rest. He's in the rest, waiting to meet you there. One of the quiet symptoms of emotional burnout is the fading of joy. The things that used to light you up now feel like chores. Passions turn into pressure. What once felt like calling now feels like surviving. And you wonder, where did the joy go? And deeper still, will I ever get it back? If you're in that space, you're not broken. You're not failing. You're just tired, deep soul tired. And God knows exactly how to restore what's been drained. Joy isn't something you force. It's not something you produce by trying harder. True joy is fruit. It grows in healthy soil. And burnout depletes that soil. It strips away margin. It silences wonder. It crowds out space for gratitude. So the first step isn't to chase joy. It's to make room for it again. Psalm 51 verse 12 says, "Restore to me the joy of your salvation." That's not just a prayer, it's a promise. God can bring back what life has drained. Not instantly, not mechanically, but gently, as you let him tend to the parts of you that have been running dry. Maybe joy doesn't look like jumping up and down today. Maybe it looks like a breath that doesn't carry anxiety. A sunset that stirs something soft in your heart. A moment of laughter you didn't expect. Healing joy returns in fragments before it returns in fullness. So don't be afraid of the numbness. Don't pretend to feel what you don't. Just be honest and ask God to begin the restoration, not of your strength, but of your joy, because that's where life begins to bloom again. One of the most damaging beliefs burnout plants in your heart is this: I must be weak. You start to see your inability to keep going as a flaw. Your need for rest is failure. Your breaking point is proof you weren't strong enough. But the truth is far more compassionate. You are not weak, you're wounded. And wounds don't make you less valuable. They don't make you less loved. They simply mean you've been through more than most people know. You've carried more than you could say. And now your soul is speaking up. Not in shame, but in a call for healing. Jesus never rebuked the wounded. He drew near to them. He saw the woman who touched the hem of his garment. He noticed the man with the withered hand. He listened to the cry of the blind beggar. And he's not overlooking you. He sees your internal exhaustion, and he responds with tenderness, not condemnation. We live in a culture that celebrates resilience and often overlooks repair. But your Creator is not like the world. He doesn't just want you to keep going. He wants you to be whole. He's not waiting for you to get it together. He's waiting to meet you in the place where you finally admit you can't keep going like this. So today, take this to heart. What you're feeling is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign that your heart matters. And when something matters, it deserves care, grace, compassion, healing. You are not broken beyond repair. You're simply in need of rest and restoration. And God is not far from your pain. He's already kneeling beside it, ready to begin the mending. Burnout often whispers a lie that you have to keep holding it all together, that if you let go, everything will collapse. So you carry it all, the responsibilities, the pressure, the emotional weight. You smile when you're exhausted. You say yes when your heart is screaming, please, no more. But what if the invitation isn't to hold on tighter? What if it's to let go? Not in surrender to defeat, but in surrender to God's strength. Because the truth is, you were never meant to hold it all. And God never asked you to. He simply says, come to me, I will give you rest. Letting go doesn't mean you're giving up. It means you're finally trusting the one who can carry what's crushing you. It means placing the pieces in the hands of a Father who already knows how to restore them. It means saying, I don't have the strength, but I believe you do. Isaiah 41 verse 10 says, do not fear, for I am with you. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. That's not a poetic promise. It's a practical invitation. When you reach the end of yourself, he steps in, and He's strong enough for both of you. So take a breath. Let the tears fall. Whisper a simple prayer. God, I can't carry this anymore. Please take it. And believe this, He will. Not because you earned His help, but because He's a good Father, and your exhaustion is not invisible to Him. You are not alone in this weight. You never were. And today might be the first day you truly feel that. When you stop holding everything and start letting Him hold you. For many of us, the reason we stay in burnout isn't just the pressure outside. It's the inner belief that we're not allowed to stop. Somewhere along the way, we picked up the message that rest is selfish, that slowing down is weakness, that healing is indulgent. So we push through. We endure. We wear exhaustion like a badge of honor. But here's the truth you need today. Healing begins with permission. The permission to say, I'm not okay. The permission to rest without explaining yourself. The permission to care for your soul like it matters. Because it does. God isn't asking you to keep pretending. He's not impressed by how much you can take. He's compassionate toward your limits. He made you with boundaries for a reason, not to restrict you, but to protect you. Even Jesus stepped away from the crowds. Even He rested. If the Son of God needed space. So do you? You don't have to wait for a crisis to start healing. You can begin now by giving yourself permission to pause, to stop carrying what's not yours, to say no without guilt, to ask for help. You're allowed to take care of your soul without justifying it to anyone. In Psalm 23, we're told that God makes me lie down in green pastures. Sometimes we're so used to running that He has to make us rest, not out of punishment, but out of deep, pursuing love. He's not trying to slow you down just for the sake of rest. He's trying to bring you back to life. So here's your invitation today. Let healing begin. And let it begin with permission, because your restoration matters more than your performance. And God would rather see you whole than busy. In a world that tells you to do more, achieve more, and keep pushing, even when you're breaking. Peace can start to feel like a reward you don't deserve yet. Like something you'll finally be allowed to experience after you finish everything. After you fix yourself. After you prove you've earned rest. But peace isn't something you earn. It's something God gives. Freely, fully, and right in the middle of your mess. Jesus said, "My peace I give to you, not as the world gives." That means it's not based on performance. It's not fragile. And it's not reserved for perfect people. You can feel anxious and still receive peace. You can be overwhelmed and still rest in His presence. You can feel broken and still be held by a calm that doesn't make sense. Because it doesn't come from you. It comes from Him. Burnout tells you that peace comes after everything is solved. But God offers peace before the outcome. He meets you in the middle of the chaos, not after it. His peace is an escape. It's a presence. It's the deep, steady assurance that you are not alone, that you are not responsible for holding everything together, that the weight isn't all on your shoulders. So today, stop waiting to earn peace. Let yourself receive it, not because everything is done, but because you're done trying to do it all without Him. Let His presence quiet your thoughts. Let His voice interrupt your stress. Let His arms become your refuge. Peace isn't just a place you arrive. It's a person who meets you right where you are. When you're coming out of emotional burnout, everything can feel overwhelming. Even the smallest tasks seem heavy. Things you used to do with ease now feel like mountains, and a voice inside might whisper, "You should be further along by now." But here's the truth you need to hold on to. It's okay to start small again. Healing doesn't always look like sudden strength. Sometimes it looks like one quiet breath, one load of laundry, one honest prayer, one walk around the block. Small things, gentle things, but they matter. God isn't rushing you. He's not standing over you with a checklist. He's walking beside you with compassion. Isaiah 42 verse 3 says, "A bruised reed He will not break, and a smoldering wick He will not snuff out." That's who God is. Gentle with the fragile, patient with the slow rebuild. You don't have to go back to who you were before burnout. Maybe that version of you is too busy, too burdened, too driven by pressure and performance. Maybe this new beginning is a gift, a chance to build differently, more slowly, more kindly, more soulfully. So celebrate small wins, applaud little steps. Thank God for every inch forward, even if no one else sees it. Healing isn't a race, it's a rhythm. And starting small doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're healing the right way. The goal isn't to bounce back. The goal is to come back home. And that always starts with grace, especially for yourself. Burnout has a way of making you feel useless. Like if you're not performing, not producing, not contributing, you're somehow less valuable. The stillness starts to feel like failure. The slowness starts to feel like shame. But let this sink in. You are still worthy, even when you can't produce. Your worth was never based on your output. It was never attached to how much you can carry or how many people you can help. Your value is not found in what you do. It's found in who you are. You are a child of God, and He doesn't love you because of your to-do list. He doesn't see you as a project. He sees you as His beloved. And in the moments when you feel like you have nothing left to offer, He still sees beauty. He still sees value. He still sees you. In Luke 10, Martha was busy serving while Mary simply sat at Jesus' feet. And Jesus gently reminded Martha, "You are worried about many things, but only one thing is needed." That one thing was presence, relationship, being, not just doing. If you're in a season where the work is stopped, where the output is slowed, let it be a holy pause. Not a punishment, but a return to rest, to identity, to the truth that you are loved as you are, not as you perform. So today, even if you don't accomplish anything else, remember this: you are still worthy, still seen, still enough, not because of what you can do, but because of who you belong to. When you're deep in burnout, you might find yourself longing for a quick fix, one breakthrough moment to make it all better. And while God can work in an instant, more often He restores in layers, slowly, gently, faithfully. Healing isn't usually one big miracle. It's a series of small mercies, a conversation that gives you clarity, a moment of unexpected peace, a morning when the weight feels just a little lighter. And sometimes progress is so subtle that you don't even realize you're healing until you look back and see how far you've come. God's not in a rush. He knows how to rebuild what burnout has broken. But He doesn't just patch over damage. He goes deep. He doesn't want to just return you to function. He wants to restore you to fullness. And that kind of healing takes time, trust, and layers of grace. Think of how He created the world, day by day, with rhythm and intention. He could have spoken everything into being at once, but instead, He built in stages. He formed, He shaped, He breathed, and He's doing the same with you. So if you're discouraged that you're not better yet, take heart. You're not behind. You're in process. Healing isn't linear, it's sacred. And every layer He restores is a deeper proof of His care. Don't measure your progress by what you haven't fixed yet. Measure it by your willingness to keep showing up, to keep letting Him in, one gentle layer at a time. One of the greatest lessons in healing from burnout is this: you are allowed to protect your peace. Not everyone will understand. Not everyone will approve. But your soul is not built to be constantly available, endlessly giving, or perpetually surrounded by noise. Sometimes burnout doesn't just come from overworking. It comes from overexposure. Too many demands, too much input, too many voices speaking into your life, but not enough stillness to hear God's. And in that chaos, your spirit gets crowded and your peace gets choked out. But Jesus Himself often withdrew. He slipped away from the crowds. He left the urgent to be alone with the Father, not because He didn't care about the people, but because He knew the source of His strength. And that same pattern is a gift for you too. You don't have to answer every message. You don't have to meet every expectation. You don't have to explain why you're choosing quiet over chaos. You are not selfish for setting boundaries. You are being wise. Your peace is sacred, and protecting it is not weakness. It's worship. It's you saying, my soul matters, my health matters. My connection with God matters more than pleasing everyone else. So today, give yourself permission to pause, to say no, to turn down the volume of the world, so you can hear the whisper of grace again. Because burnout begins where peace is ignored, and healing begins where peace is honored. When you begin to heal from burnout, there's a temptation to aim for getting back to who you used to be, to the version of you that was full of energy, motivation, and confidence. But maybe, just maybe, God isn't calling you backward. Maybe He's calling you forward, to become someone deeper, softer, stronger. You see, burnout doesn't just drain you, it changes you. It reveals what was unsustainable. It strips away the pressure, the noise, the expectations you didn't even realize were crushing you. And in that breaking, there's an opportunity for something new, something more honest, more rooted, more hope. Isaiah 43 verses 18 to 19 says, "Forget the former things. Do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing." God doesn't need to restore the old you. He's creating a healed you, a wiser you, a freer you. So instead of chasing who you were, honor who you're becoming. The one who sets boundaries, the one who breathes more deeply, the one who prays slower, listens longer, and no longer lives to prove anything to anyone. Burnout might have felt like an ending, but in God's hands, it's the beginning of a more sustainable life, a more spirit-led rhythm, a more grace-filled journey. Let go of the pressure to bounce back. You're not a rubber band. You're a soul being remade by grace. The goal isn't to be the same. The goal is to be well. And that version of you, she's worth becoming. When you're healing, it's easy to slip back into the mindset of urgency, to feel like you need to catch up, move faster, prove that you're okay again. But healing doesn't thrive in haste. It needs space, gentleness, grace. And today, God is whispering, let grace set the pace now. Not pressure, not comparison, not the old voice of burnout that says, you should be doing more. No, grace. Grace says, take your time. Grace says, it's okay to go slow. Grace says, this is sacred ground, not a sprint. Jesus never rushed. Even when people press him for urgency, he moved with purpose, not panic. He knew the difference between what was urgent and what was eternal. And now he's inviting you to live that way too. So if your steps feel small, celebrate them. If your progress feels invisible, trust it's still real. If others don't understand your boundaries, keep them anyway, because grace is your new guide, and grace is never in a hurry. Let go of the calendar in your mind that tells you where you should be by now. You're not late. You're not behind. You're healing on holy time. And that's exactly where God wants to meet you, in the unhurried, honest space of becoming whole again. So today, breathe deep, walk slow, trust the gentle rhythm of grace. Because you don't need to outrun the past. You just need to follow the pace of peace. Burnout has a cruel way of making you feel like you've lost time, like you've fallen behind, like everyone else is moving forward while you're stuck trying to catch your breath. But friend, listen closely. You're not falling behind. You're rebuilding. And rebuilding takes time. It takes intention. It takes patience. No one blames a house under renovation for not being livable yet. No one rushes a foundation when they care about the strength of what will stand on it. And God, He cares more about your strength than your speed. You're not starting over. You're starting fresh. Not as someone who failed, but as someone who's learning to live differently, more honestly, more gently, more rooted in what matters most. And that's not falling behind, that's wisdom. Philippians 1 verse 6 says, he who began a good work and you will carry it on to completion. That promise doesn't have an expiration date. It's not voided by burnout. It's still in motion. God hasn't stopped working on you just because you had to slow down. So release the timeline you thought you'd be on. Let go of the comparison. Embrace the truth that healing isn't wasted time. It's sacred investment. And every quiet moment, every boundary honored, every step taken back toward peace, it's progress. You're not where you used to be, and that's a miracle. You're not who you used to be, and that's grace. So walk this path with your head high, not because you're fast, but because you're faithful. And God is rebuilding something stronger, steadier, and more beautiful than before. When you're deep in burnout, it's easy to believe a lie that this is who you are now. Tired, numb, disconnected. You start to wonder if the old joy is gone forever, if the fog will ever lift, if your spark will ever return. But let this truth hold you gently. This is not who you'll always be. Burnout is a chapter, not your identity. It's a season, not your destiny. And while it may feel endless now, healing is happening. Even if you can't feel it yet, slowly your soul is being restored. Quietly, your strength is being renewed. Even here, God is still working, still writing, still forming beauty from what's been broken. Psalm 30 verse 5 reminds us that weeping may last for a night, but joy comes in morning. And though your night may feel long, morning will come. Not just suddenly, but steadily. Light will return. Color will come back. And the version of you on the other side of this will carry more wisdom, more compassion, more peace than you've ever known before. Don't let today's feelings define tomorrow's reality. You're passing through this season, not staying in it forever. And even if you can't see the way forward, God already knows the path, and He's walking it with you. So if all you can do today is rest with hope. Hope that this is temporary. Hope that this is being redeemed. Hope that the you who emerges from this will be stronger, not because she never broke, but because she let God rebuild her with grace. Take a deep breath. Right here, right now, you've made it this far, and that in itself is evidence of grace. Maybe you haven't seen the breakthrough yet. Maybe the energy hasn't fully returned. But the fact that you're here, listening, still reaching for healing, that's not weakness. That's strength. That's hope. That's healing already in motion. Healing doesn't always arrive with a loud announcement. Sometimes it's quiet, subtle, hidden, like a flower blooming under the soil before it breaks through the surface. It's in the way your tears come more freely now. The way you're learning to say no without guilt. The way your body breathes a little deeper when you finally pause. God is not waiting for you to be fully restored before He calls you beloved. He's not holding back His love until you get it together. No, He's loving you through the healing, day by day, layer by layer, breath by breath. You're not alone. You're not failing. You're being remade by mercy. Let this be the gentle truth that holds you today. Healing is not something you chase. It's something you allow. And the more you allow space, grace, rest, and honest prayer, the more healing rises quietly from within. So keep showing up exactly as you are. Let God carry what you can. Let peace replace pressure. Let love rewrite the old lies. Because the you who's emerging from this season, she's not weaker. She's not broken. She's whole, and she's free.